This is ends on my report card for kids who were taught they talk too much and became social butterflies as adults. They said I talk too much. I said thank you.
Hey man, say man, what up though? If this is your first time meeting me, congrats. You're welcome. From the south to the west, TCB describes the best. Now loop around to the east and you'll see that I'm a beast. This is ends on my report card. The space for kids who were told they talk too much and became social butterflies as adults. To know me is to know I love music. Now, when I say I love music, I love music. Like, I grew up with a my size piano and a traditional size piano in my home growing up in South Memphis, Tennessee. I could read music at a very young age, EGBDF. What y'all know about that? Every good boy does fine. Then one random day in Miracle Temple summer camp. Woof. If you're from my hometown, I just dated myself in a major way. But one day, not at band camp, folks took turns playing instruments. Of course, I wanted to play the drums because that's what the cool kids played. But when I tell you the competition was fierce. So, of course, when it was my turn, I picked the drums. I just replicated whatever the beat was, and then I played the strip of music notes that went across the room. The kids was stunned, y'all, and Cupcake wasn't the most popular kid at camp that day. So I can play instruments, and I was in youth choir at church. I was in middle school choirs. I was even a part of musicals at Lindenwood Summer Camp in Memphis, Tennessee, where I had solos. If you know, you know. There were no music competition shows full of audience members, support signs, recording contracts, world tours back then, though. But when I was growing up, we had the Mickey Mouse Club, which was like a kiddie variety show. The likes of Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Jay-Z Chazé, and Kerry Russell. So yeah, before Kerry Russell was Felicity and U.S. Ambassador Kate Wilder, and before Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z Chazé joined three other bandmates to tell the world, God must have spent a little more time on you. And before Christina Aguilera was telling us she was a genie in a bottle, baby, gotta rub her the right way. And before Britney Spears was telling us to hit her baby one more time, they were singing MICKEYMOUSC. But of course, you know this was the third iteration of the Mickey Mouse Club because its OG run was hosted by Jimmy Dodd and Roy Williams with Annette Funicello as a cast member. But before I was even born, there was American Bandstand, famously hosted by Dick Clark, with an all-star performers list that includes Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Jerry Lee Lewis, the Jackson Five, Stevie Wonder, James Brown, the Beach Boys, Prince, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, etc. You name it, they were there. Then you had shows that came across like Star Search that began in the 80s and worked through the 90s, popped up again temporarily in the early 2000s, then sprouted a 2026 live iteration on Netflix. Now, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and Justin Timberlake had appearances on early iterations of Star Search as well, along with Aaliyah, Leanne Rhymes, Alanis Morissette, Pitbull, Usher, and Beyonce in a group called Girls Time. So yeah, before Destiny's Child had us asking men could they pay our bills and demanding they say our name, Beyonce was on a different type of time. Later, there was this little show called Pop Stars that came about where the most known pussycat doll, Nicole Scherzinger, was competing and won a spot in the girl group called Eden's Crush. Y'all remember Eden's Crush, right? Thus making Nicole Scherzinger a real OG in the music reality show genre. Of course, America's Got Talent produces a lot of singers, as does the X Factor. And I know we supposed to have the big all nasty block on all things Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Sean. But making the band was entertaining as hell. It was intense. It was dramatic. It was trifling having them folks take that walk to get Junior's cheesecake. It's really good though, y'all. But nonetheless, it kept our attention, and the icing on the cake was none other than Lori Ann Gibson with her boom cat ass. Making the band gave us Sarah, Dylan. It gave us Showstopper, Danity Kane, and Lord knows, yes, God. It gave us Willie Taylor, Brian, Quanell, Robert, and Michael, known collectively as Day 26. Diddy might have been a lot of things, but a musical genius he is also. Then, as I grew up, music reality competition shows did as well, which is how we got The Voice and American Idol. For a long while, folks were fans of either one or the other, even though American Idol came out several years before The Voice. Each show had different dynamics that had people tuning in. The Voice included the highly anticipated blind chair turn that initially took away aesthetic dynamics so that a person could be judged purely on their la 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 la, their voice. Singers who received chair turns from multiple celebrity judges got their pick of choices to be mentored by, which often had a direct impact on their likelihood to win. It was always interesting for me to see how things went for singers once the public opinion of the mass audience was introduced, cause oof. But the biggest, the coldest, and forever will be American Idol. First, if I'm being honest, American Idol winners had more hype and longevity than the winners of The Voice. Now, I know things have gotten dicey with a few winners, but still, American Idol reigns supreme. The first American Idol winner was Kelly Clarkson, and I don't care what none of y'all say, she is still popping today. Even though her talk show recently got canceled, sis, yeah, I said sis, cause sis can sing. Do you hear me? And when I lived in Nashville once upon a time, and I would casually see her in Bank of America or casually see her in Victoria's Secret Green Hills, she was always nice and quite funny, actually. Then our beloved teddy bear Ruben Studdard was the season 2 winner, where my girl Trinice from Memphis was a contestant. Now, Fantasia Barrino literally started from the bottom and came up in life and used her God-given talent to win American Idol in season 3. I have seen her live in concert front row and had a whole moment with her in front of tens of thousands of people, y'all. She is oily and is the truth. Also on season 3 of American Idol was Jennifer Hudson, or J Hud as some of y'all like to call her. But can you imagine Fantasia and Jennifer Hudson in a sing-off now? Now that their voices have matured some, they've had access to all kinds of like coaches and mentors on top of already having churchy voices. Woof. I think our souls could use that kind of soothing right now. But then you got Carrie Underwood, who won season 4 and has since come back as a current judge on the show. We're going to roll right past her. If you know, you know why. Taylor Hicks won season 5, Miss No Air, No Air. Jordan Sparks won season 6, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of them, y'all. 20 plus seasons worth. Within the last several years, though, Netflix has given us Popstar Academy, which was a combined Hybe Geffen collaboration that ultimately produced world pop girl group Cat's Eye. Let me tell y'all, I have watched that series 10,000 times. At their age or at my current big age, I don't know that I could train that intensively. Like, I know it takes serious commitment to be a singer and a dancer, but y'all, my knees, they ain't like Meg's or Adina Howard's. They cannot. Or maybe I could, but I might get stuck and have a time getting back up. But from Netflix, we also got Building the Band. Now, while I thought Building the Band had a bit of shadiness with how band members could deal to create their band, ultimately, who I thought would end up in a band together did. It was enjoyable, but damn, Netflix, can we get a season 2? You gave us Rhythm and Flow season 2. Can we get a season 3 of that? But we also need a season 2 of Building the Band. Y'all know how there's a cultural and societal joke about when folks acquire a bunch of something and it's done in a shocking manner, we say, oh, they collected such and such like infinity stones. Well, when I say the number of Trump appointees leaving his administration is like collecting infinity stones, he can't keep his hair on, can't keep his lies straight, and can't keep his loyalists for too long. The walking environmental hazard extraordinaire muskrat Elon Musk was one of Trump's first cronies to get on down. The dog shooting former Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, gone. Attorney General Pam Bondi, out of there. Labor Secretary Lloyd Chavez DeRemer, get on up out the Trump administration too. And to think, she was once referred to as a pro-union Republican. Like, who knew those existed? Then Tulsi Gabbard, who's the director of national intelligence, she easing on down the road too. Look, at this point, the United States of America is being run by second and third string recruits with little to no experience. But what they do have is loyalty to Trump. And don't y'all sit up here and say loyalty to country, because if that was the case, our country would be better run. But that's a longer story for a different day. I just got one question though. How long is it gonna be for old Petey? P. Hegseth. You know, the drunk. The dude leading the Department of Defense, where the only thing brown that he likes and appreciates is dark liquor. I just want to know when this cast of characters will actually reflect the United States of America, because right now the mass exodus within the current administration is glaring. When we talk about barbecue across America, there are a litany of different factors. Meat choice, bun material. Y'all, I promise this is about barbecue and not about sex. Slaw or no slaw on the sandwich. Whether the sauce is spicy or sweet, white, vinegar, tomato, mustard base. Then what do you eat with it? Greens, mac and cheese, baked potato, fries, potato salad, baked beans. Do you put pickles and onions on top of your meat? Is it chopped, shredded, or brisket style? Maybe you do ribs. Do you like them regular, pork, beef, short, turkey? Like, how you doing? Now, I'ma just tell ya, I grew up in Memphis. That's the city that's technically in the southwest corner of the state of Tennessee, but we be on our own stuff. I am extremely biased about barbecue because of such. I have also lived in Texas, another big barbecue hub. Let me tell y'all right now, and no, this is not debatable, but Memphis got the best barbecue on all cylinders, including the sauces. Memphis is the blueprint for barbecue and still home to a world famous annual barbecue cooking contest. Do I eat the big pig roasting on the pole round and round? Nope. Sure the hell do not. Heck, I don't even eat pork in them anymore. But will I super smash a beef brisket sandwich with bowl sauce, extra please, and slaw on my sandwich? No pickle, no onion needed? I sure as shit will. And no, all barbecue places are not created equal. There are menu items that taste better at, say, barbecue shop than they do at Corky's. And what I used to get at Tops is vastly different than what I used to get at, say, Cozy Corner. But in Memphis, you got options. And contrary to popular belief, there are not more barbecue options than there are churches. Now, I get that some people like the watery, lame, vinegar based sauces on chopped shoulder, but you might as well be eating barbecue bits of water if that's how you take your barbecue. Might be for you, but it ain't for thee. Now it's time for extra credit, where I give props to someone or something related to today's podcast topics. Today's extra credit goes to J Hud and Charlie Puth. On a completely random Wednesday night in concert, they took us to church. And when I say church, I mean church. Two U's, no R, church. Do you hear me? Charlie Puth on them keys, 8. I mean, he was singing too, but the musicality of it all was insane. Them background singers, 8. And you know, J Hood with her super oily self, 8 too. They sang Kirk Franklin, Silver, and Gold. Now, generally, I would only listen to this song around like the Christmas holiday season, but I now have to listen to the Charlie Puth J Hood version like once a day. You should too. They say milk does a body good, but their rendition of Silver and Gold will do your spirit good. Now we also have Time Out, where I put somebody in a corner that just did folks dirty or hurt our feelings with their actions, likely unexpectedly. Today I'm putting Trevor Jackson in Time Out, and yes, it hurts. When I tell you that brother sings R&B from a deep, deep place in his soul, and even his covers will have you wanting to do a striptease and go make some babies. Ugh. But when I tell you he equally had me fucked up, dazed, and confused when I saw his Instagram post of the UFC fight at the White House. Now, he wasn't there in person, but his initial cover photo post was a view of the match from Cosm. I promise this ain't no shade to Cosm. I love the Cosm experience. I saw Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at Cosm Dallas, and it was the bomb. Cosm, don't do nothing to make me regret my statement, okay? But this ain't about Cosm. This is about Trevor Jackson hyping up his participation in viewing the most controversial UFC fight that ever was, especially after Josh Hogan made them trash ass comments about Forever First Lady. Now he has since edited and altered the post a bit, but still expressed his interest in viewing it. In a world where folks are expecting everyone to pick a side, Trevor Jackson fans don't like the one he picked. I'm Theron, and this has been Ends on My Report Card. See you next time.